Simone Biles, guys, I got to tell you, I pass absolutely no judgment, and that's right now. 3 hours ago, when I got this news, I did. I thought it was mental weakness, and I was very disappointed. You guys know what I'm talking about. Simone Biles is the greatest athlete in the world. She might be and is, in my vote, the greatest athlete to have ever lived. And I think there's a very easy and compelling case, which is, logically speaking, we know that people of today are better than yesteryear, even though our nostalgia likes to tell us different. We know, logically speaking, the athletes of today are better than the ones that came before them. And we know that she's the best athlete alive right now. Therefore, it might constitute that she's the greatest athlete of all time. But I only share this with you. She's at the Olympic Games. She's a major hero. And she pulled out. The team sport for gymnastics, so that you understand. All the little girls, nationwide, worldwide, that participate. Talk about our country, though. 5 get to go to the Olympics every 4 years. There is next to no opportunity in gymnastics. I would have a hard time with a straight face encouraging my daughter to pursue Olympic dreams. I would have to encourage, there's other things. There's NCAA scholarships and there's U14s. There's other things. If you put it all into the Olympic basket, at least logically speaking, it's very rare. And the only reason I bring that up is she is one of those 5. So of all the little girls that had a dream, worked hard, and sacrificed, she is now taking up one of those spots. For her to go to the Olympics and then elect to not compete, it's a tough spot. But I'm telling you, even regardless of what I said, I pass no judgment. I've had 3 hours to think about this. She is in an incredibly unique spot. She shared with the world 24 hours before she made her decision to withdraw from the team competition. Don't forget, there's 2 different competitions. You have the team competition. You're then going to have an all-around. There's 3. And then you're going to have for each apparatus. So she is pulled out from the team competition, which will stop the United States from doing overly well. I suspect Simone will be back for the apparatus. I believe she will compete on the vault and the beam and the bars. I think she's going to do all of those things. This is my guess. But she sent out 24 hours before she made this decision a tweet that said, "I feel as though I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. I know I keep a game face at times. It's really hard." That's all she said. And I know for many athletes, when they are feeling those types of pressures, if you come out and you say it, it will alleviate a lot of the pressure. That monster in your closet is now out. You've revealed it. Cowboy Cerrone is very great at this. Cowboy Cerrone doesn't have any more mental issues or anxieties about competing than anybody else. He found a skill that when he comes out and tells people that sometimes his mind plays tricks on him, it calms him. That's all that he's doing there. So when I'm looking at Simone, I've got to tell you, one of the great athletes I've ever been around in the sport of MMA. And I'm very close to saying greatest. But you say greatest when you're in a coaching position, now you're hurting somebody else's feelings. So I'm just going to say one of the greats is Uriah Hall. And this is from the day that I saw him, not even that I met him, the day I saw him and I saw him perform. I was seeing him do stuff not only offensively, but defensively. He can do the pull. The pull is very athletic when you can pull back. A kick comes flying at you and you can pull back. Adesanya can do it. Anderson can do it. Uriah can do it. I would love if you offered a 4th suggestion for me. It's just a level of flexibility. It's a level of athleticism, and you're born with it. You've either got this or you don't. Uriah's got all the tools. And Uriah was very similar to Cowboy and very similar to what Simone is going through, in that he was not afraid to talk about the anxieties and the pressures and the mental side to the sport. Now, Uriah very early on got labeled as somebody who struggles with this. Well, that's true, he does, but he wasn't unique. That's the one part of the story that's been mistold. Uriah had the courage and the wisdom to come out and realize one way of dealing with it is to admit he's dealing with something. So Uriah is not unique in his ability to feel different. On one practice day, I feel great. And then on a competition day, oh, did I do enough? He's not unique. He just had a courage, and I got to tell you, an IQ. It was very smart that he did this. It's helped him tremendously and his career is being extended. I mean, this is a guy that debuted in 2012 and is main eventing 9 years later. That's a remarkable feat in and of itself. That is something he will look back on and be extremely prideful of. That is something that young athletes will come to him and turn to him and say, how did you do it? How did you debut in 2012 and a decade later you were the main event on ESPN? It's one of these things. When I tell you he's one of the greats I've ever been around, he's one of the greats I've ever been around. There's one piece to this story. Uriah's getting ready to fight Sean Strickland. There's one piece of this story that I don't know. No one's told me. But when I met Sean Strickland, I was in the Rain Training Center in California, Mark Munoz's gym, but I was there training with Uriah Hall. Uriah and Kelvin and I, amongst others, but we were there with each other. We were training. And that's where I met Strickland. That's where I started training with Strickland. So my guess, I never saw it, at least not that I remember, but my guess is those two would have found each other. And that would have been a very interesting, there's part of me that's wondering, well, maybe they didn't. It was a pretty big gym. And Strickland goes at a certain pace in practice. Strickland has a certain intensity in practice that's rare. Uriah has that same intensity. So, like, if those guys would have found each other, I don't think that would have ended well. I don't think they would have been good partners for each other. I think a fight would have broke out. If a fight had broken out, I'm sure I would have heard about it. But at the same time, as somehow those guys missed each other, they just walked past each other day after day. That would be rare too, particularly since they're the same size. So I don't know where this goes. If Uriah sees this, send me a text. Sean, if you see it, I'd like to know. But it's a piece of this story because these guys were teammates. I can confirm that. We're all on the same team. We're all in the same room together. Did they grab a hold of each other? It's a piece of the story that's missing.